All right. You're looking to grow your business and you're looking, okay, do I need to add more products? Do I need to do a bunch of different things? Well, I have on here today someone I'm super excited to have who is an expert on growing his own e-commerce business, and he's helped many other people along the way. He's the founder of Seller Summit, which I think is one of the best events out there. He's also the host of My Wife Quit Her Job podcast. I'm super excited to have with me here Steve Chou. Steve, thanks for being on Maximizing Ecommerce today.
Thanks for having me, Kevin.
Yeah, this is exciting. So I remember first listening to your podcast. I think it might have been new and noteworthy or something. It was like brand spanking new. Like you just had a couple of
Oh,
episodes.
you're an original listener then. That
I
was
was
like
one of the
5 years
original
ago.
listeners. This
Yeah.
was like when I was still trying to wrap my head around like, but if I actually do something, will like I get some sort of result? And so I have fond memories of mowing the lawn at the house I used to live at the time when I first started listening to your show. You and Pat Flynn and Jamie Masters, at the time she was Jamie Tardy of Eventual Millionaire, really were, I think, instrumental in me helping to shift my mindset from employee to thinking more like an entrepreneur. So just wanted to acknowledge you for that real quick.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks for letting me know. It always makes me happy.
Yeah, good. And I know a lot of people speak very highly of you. Having been out to Seller Summit 3 times, a lot of people credit a lot of their success to a lot of the work you've done. So,
Cool.
keep up the good work.
Thanks. I'm glad. Am I going to see you there in 2020?
I'm going to be there.
Okay.
I haven't purchased a ticket yet, but I plan to be there. I have no excuse. You guys are in Fort Lauderdale. We were just talking offline. I live like a little more than an hour from Fort Lauderdale. So
yeah, sounds good.
No reason not to be. So, all right. So what I wanted to just start off with is for those who are not familiar, tell me a little bit how you got into e-commerce and what's your whole backstory in all this?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of stumbled onto it. So when my wife became pregnant with our first child, she told me she wanted to quit her job and stay at home to take care of the kids. I was fully on board with that, but the problem is we live in the Silicon Valley. Have you been out here, Kevin? I don't know if you've been out here.
I've not been out there, but I hear it's the cost of living is pretty low.
Yeah, very low. So to get a good house in a good school district, right now it's probably like $2.5 million.
Oh my gosh,
for a shack.
Right.
Anyway, so she tells me she's going to quit her job, and I'm like, okay, well, I still kind of want to, we're going to need to get a house in a good school district. So we looked all over the place to think of ways to make money to replace her income. And we kind of stumbled upon e-commerce selling handkerchiefs.
Huh.
And we ended up replacing her day job salary, which was about 100-something thousand in our first year. And I was like, wow, this is pretty amazing. Now, you might think that handkerchiefs are kind of random for those people who are listening for the first time.
Yeah. How did you even think of that?
The reason we stumbled on handkerchiefs is 3 years back when we got married, my wife knew she was going to cry at the wedding. And we looked all over the place for handkerchiefs because she didn't want to be photographed using tissues or anything like that. Couldn't find any handkerchiefs online. Finally found this Chinese factory, but obviously you had to make a bulk order. Mm-hmm. So we made this huge order of handkerchiefs, used a handful of them, and we kind of sold the rest on eBay, and they ended up selling really quick. And so that's why, fast forward, when she wanted to quit, we were like, hey, why don't we get back in touch with that factory and start selling these online, since they weren't readily available in the US.
That's cool. So it's a story I hear from a lot of people that are successful. Those are kind of, for lack of a better word, solving their own problem and then helping other people with it. So, recently I had Greg Mercer from Jungle Scout, and he was talking a lot about how, he wanted to come up with a tool to help him with product research. And that's what he used to invent Jungle Scout. And here on the e-commerce side of things, you needed handkerchiefs, were having trouble finding them. And so you created your own business around that. So that's pretty cool. Cause like most people wouldn't even think to do that, because so many people get hung up in this, like what product do I sell? But sometimes just look at, what do you need and solve that problem for people just like you.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you, Kevin, it wouldn't have been my first choice to sell those because it's not like a product I'm really into, but running the business is actually a lot of fun.
Nice. Tell me a little bit about what's the day-to-day of running that business and how you guys split that up.
Yeah, so my wife is actually responsible for the logistics and the operations. So she's more of the day-to-day. I'm more of the marketing and sales. So I'll drive the sales, and she just makes sure that we have the infrastructure to fulfill those sales.
Nice.
We used to work more closely together, but you know how it is working with your wife. especially when you're 50-50 partners, you might clash a little bit. So we've kind of separated out everything, and it's worked out really well.
Well, that's good. I'm sure you guys had to have some clear defining lines because, like, I love my wife to death, but I don't know that she and I would be able to start a business together. And we've talked about that. So this isn't like something I'm saying she's going to listen to and be surprised. But I give you guys kudos for even being able to make it work. But yeah, so you guys split up the responsibilities, and then you decided to start helping people with it. You started with the
Yeah.
blog, right?
Yeah, how that ended up happening was my friends, these are all people I went to school with, and they're all like lawyers and doctors, and especially the lawyers, they were like, hey, I'm working like 100-hour weeks here. How did you do it? And so kept getting asked these questions, and I decided to document them in a blog, just kind of document the journey.
Uh-huh.
And what ended up happening is none of my friends ended up reading the blog, but I did attract a bunch of people who wanted to start their own businesses, either as a side income or to replace their day job income. And that's how mywifequitherjob.com was born. It gained traction. It led to a podcast, led to a training course, and it led to an event.
Nice. Now let's talk a little bit about the event, just because I love events. How did you decide to get into that? Because that's not a small undertaking.
Yeah. So for everyone listening out there, I used to be an electrical engineer, and so I'm just kind of used to it's just me and my computer and my monitor.
Uh-huh.
And the conference was like the last thing that I was going to do until I met my partner, Tony.
Mm.
And I was terrified of logistics and that sort of thing. And the fact that I'd be talking with all these people the entire day, but she kind of talked me into it. And we ended up just launching it. I think 2016 was our first year, and I ended up loving it, surprisingly. And so our arrangement is I'm responsible for speakers, tickets, and sponsors, and she's responsible for running the event, essentially. And it works out well.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you guys put on an awesome event. Definitely something I think people should check out. I would suggest, somewhat selfishly, that people check out Seller Summit in the late spring, early summer, and then
It's
in the
in May,
fall.
May 6th to the 8th. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Yep.
So, and then in the fall, I can think of a good event called Brand Accelerator Live that.
There's that book behind you, I hear, is pretty good too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for people listening to the podcast, we were just talking offline that I just finally built a bookshelf because I was tired of looking at a bare wall, and I put a Scott Volker's Take Action effect on there, which he announced at the event that you and I were both at Brand Accelerator Live back in September, which was fun. And I was just looking, I happened to be looking in the book, and you and I both have a blurb like right next to each other.
Oh,
And,
yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So good stuff. So at the at Brand Accelerator Live, you talked a little bit about, growing your business and not necessarily, and how you don't necessarily need to just keep adding products, because a lot of people have the mentality of add products. What would be the key way to grow your business with what you have currently?
Yeah. I mean, there's 3 ways to grow your business, right? I mean, you can
Mm-hmm.
add products, you can increase traffic, you can increase average order size, or you can increase repeat business.
Mm-hmm.
What I found from teaching my class for like the last 8 years is a lot of people just grow by adding products because that's what they know how to do. But if you think about it, adding products is a pain in the butt, right? You
Mm-hmm.
have to find new vendors, you have to deal with logistics, you have to deal with launching a new product, when in fact, you can just focus on getting repeat customers and increasing average order size to make things a lot easier. There's a lot of studies done on this where if you, I think Bain and Company released, like if you just increase your repeat business by 5%, that'll increase your profitability by 75% for like the average business that they surveyed. So I don't know how much more in depth you want to get into that, but those are the 2 ways that most people neglect.
Yeah, let's dive into that a little bit more of, how do you get the repeat business? Because a lot of people listening to this, or most of their sales come on Amazon, or they're starting to think about wanting to come off of Amazon. So how do you start getting into a position to get those repeat sales where you're not just at Amazon's mercy, because Amazon doesn't let you go after their
Yeah,
customers?
so Amazon is a tough cookie to crack
Mm-hmm.
because anytime you're trying to get in touch with a customer on Amazon, that's gray hat, right?
Oh yeah.
Or even black hat. We do that to a certain extent, although Amazon's starting to hide all the customer information. I don't know if you've noticed. Like include like they might take off the names soon enough. I've heard through the grapevine.
Oh, really? I haven't
Yeah.
heard that one yet.
So the way we've been doing is we kind of look for bulk customers. So we sell mainly to weddings and event planners.
Right.
That's like a good core of our business.
Hmm.
And so on Amazon, if someone's ordering like, 50 handkerchiefs or, 10 dozen napkins, chances are they aren't just a regular consumer.
Right.
Right. So what we try to do is we try to find out where they work. And, we have that information on Amazon. You're not allowed to contact them through Amazon.
Right.
But if you find out their contact information and you just kind of call them and say, hey, we noticed you're an event planner and we have these handkerchiefs or linens that you can use. How about we give you a dedicated representative, a coupon code, and if you order through us directly, we'll take care of your order. We'll make sure it gets there, and we'll have a dedicated point of contact for you. And not to mention, it'll be like 30% cheaper as well. That usually does the trick.
Gotcha. So you're looking at your data to see who's buying bulk orders, because in your world, there's, the event planners, the wedding planners, they could be buying multiple times. So you want those big orders and you're trying
Yeah.
to get them
I mean,
off
let me give
Amazon,
you an
basically.
interesting statistic about our business. And you would think that most of our customers are consumers, but I think like 45 to 50% of our customers spend half of our average order value. Our average order value is like $60. So the bulk of our customers, almost 50%, are people who spend very little money at our store. Whereas the people who spend more than double our average order value, which is $120 or more, that's only
Hmm.
like 10% of our business. But that 10% makes up 50% of our business, whereas those people who spend less make up only like 10% of our business. It's like completely flipped, right?
So you mean the 10% of the people are 50% of your revenue?
Yes.
Did I understand that? Okay.
10%
Wow.
of our biggest customers are 50% of our revenue, whereas our smallest customers represent 50% of our orders, but only 10% of our revenues. Right.
Wow.
So what are you going to focus on, right? You're going to focus on your biggest customers. Every
Hmm.
business has it, believe it or not. You just have to look at the numbers. There's always going to be almost every business that's out there. There's going to be people who have repeat business who buy from you, and some will buy in bulk. And those are the people you want to focus on, your best customers.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a couple things I can think of just on the top of my mind you could do is you could just look in like your orders, because Amazon flags them as business customer. And I never even thought to do this, but you probably could, if you have their name, still you have their name. If they get rid of it, I guess you can't do this, but you could just go on LinkedIn and see like what company they work
Yeah,
for.
just Google, LinkedIn. Yeah. Um, Sometimes like they include their business name in there, makes it even easier.
That's true. That's true. You could always call that business. And ask for them by name. And then also, the interesting thing is that when you do have a website out there, I have found, because I don't get a lot of sales on my own website, but
Mhm.
from time to time, because I have a phone number on there, I will get calls from businesses, that whether they want to sell it like in their brick and mortar store and their mom and pop shop, and they just, want a little handful of them, or I'll get someone that maybe is an event planner and something I have would make good gifts. And so like they're asking for like, 100 of them or something crazy. So
Mhm.
yeah, like little things like that you could do could go a long way. And those orders, although they may not be as many of them, if you can get more of them, they're very impactful.
Yeah, I mean, so we're the opposite. We get most of our sales from our website as
Mm,
opposed to Amazon. And so with our website, obviously we have full control and we have all the data of every person that's ever shopped. And so it's really easy to pull up the highest bulk purchasing customers and just reach out to them directly. And at that point, you don't have to be stealthy at all. You can say, hey, you ordered
right.
from me on this date.
Right.
We just want to let you know that we can give you a discount and a dedicated rep. And that way, it just puts you on their radar screen going forward, so they won't stray from your company going forward. And this way you can actually send them reminders to buy too if you get an idea of what their frequency is.
Yeah. And that's a good point too. Like, oftentimes we think like, oh, e-commerce, it's all about, just behind a keyboard. We don't have to talk to people. But sometimes there's magic in just doing what people are not doing these days, which is just picking up the phone and calling. And if you can get them on the phone and talk to them, they're more likely to come back to you.
Totally. And it makes your business a lot more consistent. Like I know those orders are in the bag every single year.
Hmm.
Whereas with Amazon, it's kind of random, right? Depending on who's attacking you or the ranking shift and whatnot, it's just a
Right.
very solid foundation for a business.
Okay. So you've got this core of customers. Do you call them or reach out to them somehow, like before, like let's say wedding season? So if the wedding season is the spring and summer, do you reach out to them before the wedding season starts?
So we only reach out to them if they haven't placed an order in a while. And so we
Oh,
know who
okay.
our best customers are. And so we'll remind them, or um, sometimes we'll offer them, we treat them differently. They're like on a completely different segment. And so there's different things like loyalty programs, or, just special deals and incentives that we provide those people only. Whereas for our cheapest customers, we don't spend as much time, um, you know, human time, I guess, dedicated time to those people.
Right, exactly. You want to go after the whales, so to
Yeah,
speak, and the
yeah.
little minnows, especially with your human time. So, all right. So, let's say someone listening to this is like, okay, I see the vision, but there's a little bit of a gap because maybe they're getting most of their sales on Amazon, but they see the vision that it's good to diversify in some ways and get sales off of Amazon.
Hmm.
What have you seen works for people when they're in that phase? And it's like the magical
Yeah.
question everybody wants to know.
The best way I've seen, and I'm not even sure if this is gray hat or black hat, but it works. What you do
Okay.
is you have an insert in your product that says, hey, here is a specific code where you can get a free product on your site.
Oh wow,
So it's
that's
just free. You're just giving away product. And you only allow one per person, but as soon as they redeem that free product, you have their information.
gotcha. So you're not that's not even warranty. That's
It's not a
just
warranty, nothing. It's just a free product.
wow. Have you ever heard of anyone getting their hand slapped for that one? Because that sounds a little on
I
the
it
grayish to
is, but
blackish side.
it's yeah, it is gray. I've seen it a lot also just in the packages I've been receiving lately on Amazon. I don't know if you've noticed.
Really? Okay. I'll have
Um,
to pay more attention because I usually just throw them
there's
away.
just blatant manipulation out there
Yeah.
going on, and I don't feel like Amazon's cracking down on any of it. I just bought. What did my wife just buy? She just bought skin cream, and in there was an insert that said, "Here's an Amazon gift card. Leave a review."
Really? Oh my. They're going to drop the hammer on that kind of stuff at
Yeah.
some point.
So I think that giving away free product is a little more subtle because you're not asking for a review or anything.
Right.
It's not review manipulation, nothing. It's just free product,
Huh. Interesting. And you're
right?
giving it on your website or you're
On
giving
your
it
website, you
on your
just give a
website?
URL and say, "Hey, thank you for shopping here. Here's a free product."
Wow. Is it like
So,
free plus shipping or just free?
no, outright, outright free,
Wow. So that
and so
way
that
they've
way you
got them
get
on
their
the.
info. Yeah,
Okay.
and you can
Interesting.
market them going forward.
Interesting.
I'm
Interesting.
not sure if you guys should try it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, it's one of those things. But really, Amazon does a pretty good job of preventing you from getting any information about the customer, right? The email's hidden. There's no longer phone numbers. I heard from the grapevine they're going to take away names. And
right.
so, at that point, you're pretty much stuck. And if you're stuck on
Mm-hmm.
Amazon and you're not working on your own site or building a brand or even building an audience, I mean, brand is even going a little bit farther. Like unless you have like an email list or a way to reach out to your customer going forward, you're at Amazon's mercy, and you're at the mercy of them changing the rules at any time.
Oh yeah.
Plus, you're at the mercy of all these malicious sellers out there. Um, I think it's gotten out of control over the years.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gotten kind of crazy over the last few years. Um, Now, let's say somebody wanted to be a little more on the white hat side of things. What do you find works with someone who's starting out with generating traffic? Do you think it's Google Shopping ads? Is it Facebook? Is it
Oh, with your own site.
with your own site, let's
Yeah,
say?
with your own site. Okay. So for us, we have a three-prong approach, right? So I
Okay.
think you have to be paying for ads somehow, and
Hmm.
what you use, whether it be Google or Facebook, really depends on the nature of the products that you sell, right? So if you're selling a product that is highly searchable,
Okay.
then Google will tend to be better depending on whether your keywords are really expensive or not,
Mm.
depending on how specific you are. Whereas if you're selling something that people aren't really searching for, then Facebook will be a better solution. So if you're just starting out, you have to just kind of ask yourself which one you want to focus on, and then just go with that one until you get really good at it. Google Shopping that you mentioned works pretty well. Again, it kind of depends on whether it's searchable or not. But Google Shopping, for us at least, converts the best because you get a picture and you get the dollar amount. And so if they're clicking on it, there's a high level of search intent, buying intent when they click on the ad.
Gotcha. And so you've had the most success because I guess people looking up handkerchiefs, like it's pretty
Yes.
clear that that's what they want. Their intent in the search is there. Whereas some other products, I could see how if it's more interest based and it's less searchable.
Well, if it's
Um,
something like brand new, like an invention, I can't think of an invention off the top of my head, but let's say it's
let's say it's a click and carry, or our
a
mutual
click and
friend
carry.
Kim
Yeah. Oh,
Meckler.
yeah. Click and carry. Good. Yeah. Let's use Kim's product. A
Yeah,
click and carry is not something that people are searching for,
right.
but it's got a really amazing value proposition. So Facebook ads are ideal for that particular product.
Yeah, that totally makes sense because like just like on Amazon, Amazon's a search engine. People are searching for XYZ product. Google's the same way. People are searching for things, and if it's something that they would be thinking about, but like if it's something like the click and carry. So for people who are unfamiliar, it's basically this device contraption. I don't know how I would describe it, where you could put grocery bags on each side. So you could put it on your shoulder, hold it in your hands. You could do a multitude of different things. You could use it to make carrying things easy. So you're not trying to balance like the bread bag on your pinky with a bunch of other things and try to,
Yeah.
balance it in your hand. So it solves a problem, but it's a problem that a lot of people don't even realize they have.
And that's the type of product where like Google Shopping would be terrible for, because you see this product on there, you have no idea what it is.
Right.
No one's going to click on it.
Right. So that
Yeah.
makes perfect sense. That makes
Yeah.
perfect sense.
The next thing that you have
Mhm.
to have is some sort of content strategy,
Okay.
um, whether it be blogging, YouTube, or podcasting. I feel like most people are a little bit intimidated by video and
Hmm.
probably podcasting too. So that's where blogging kind of comes into effect. Any sort of written content to rank and search, or just the ability to have some sort of medium where you can build an audience, gather emails, message subscribers, push notifications, and that sort of thing.
Okay. Now, in your opinion, if someone either they had someone to be the face of it or be the voice of it, um, are they better off sticking with starting with blogging first or going out there and podcasting or blogging if it made sense to their niche?
If they were to be the face of the company and you had the resources to produce video and edit it, it's mainly the editing actually.
Hmm.
Video is really good. I mean, I think blogging is low hanging fruit and it's like
Hmm.
the easiest way for someone to get started. Video is a little bit more involved, which is kind of why even after all these years, I've been a little bit hesitant to get in there. Recording it is not the problem.
Right.
It is the editing. And then podcasting is easier than video, but podcasting has less reach than like YouTube, for example, because
Right.
no one's gotten podcast search down.
True.
Discoverability is a problem. Whereas you get a lot of loyal fans through podcasting.
Hmm.
YouTube discoverability is really good. Loyalty is a little bit less. So it just kind of depends on your priorities.
Gotcha. So with blogging though, because blogging, and when Tony was on, Tony Anderson,
Mhm.
your buddy from Seller Summit, when she was on episode 17, we talked about content and amplifying it and things of that nature.
Yep.
So in what you've found, like what expectation should someone have? Should it be like, they start out and 6 weeks later, they're going
No.
gangbusters, or,
Yeah.
what is that like,
So
just to help
I'll tell you
remind
now,
people?
so our third prong that first year when we made 100K was search engine
Mm,
optimization. You create content, and as long as you do it in a very deliberate way, you can see results within 3 to 6 months, I would say, but no sooner than that.
okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So you have to have a longer term time frame to see any sort of results.
And if someone's doing content, what would you say would be a good frequency to do?
Um, so these days, I would say the frequency matters less than how good the content is.
Okay.
I try to put out something once per week,
Okay.
but that's not like set in stone. I mean, I've got buddies who put out stuff every day, and it's all high quality content
Oh,
because they
wow.
have writers.
Yeah.
Not necessary. I think what's more important is that you put out a piece of content that is way better than everything else that is out there in that particular topic. I'd
Yes.
rather put out one piece of content every other month that's amazing than one piece of content that's just okay every single week or every single day.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Because at the end of the day, like, there's so much just blah stuff out there. So
Hmm.
if your content's not good and doesn't really attract them, then you got to think of it like the human on the other side. If you wouldn't read it, why would you expect that they would read it too?
Yeah, I'm really glad that it's gone this direction because there was a lot of junk out there that used to rank, and it's slowly being wiped out of existence. So that makes me happy.
Gotcha. Now, assuming you have high quality content, is there anything you can do to help it rank?
To help it rank in search, yeah.
Yeah.
So you can run ads on it. That helps. Um, a lot of it has to do with the research and the quality of the article, but I don't know if you guys already covered this in Tony's talk already, but you can take bits and pieces of that and share it on social media.
Hmm.
You can take your content, let's say it's written content, you can take that and turn it into a video or a podcast. The same content can be just kind of spread across different platforms. Same piece of content reused and just spread and disseminated as widely as you can.
Right, exactly. And then you can use that as you build up an email list and a following there. There's all kinds of things you could do with that content to get it out there. Now, you said ads could help
Yeah.
with, does that help with
Yes.
organic search
It
rankings?
does actually. So
Really?
if you run Google AdWords,
Okay.
and you're bidding on these keywords, they could be kind of expensive, but it kind
Sure.
of gives a chance for you to rank for that keyword, like organically. And if the click-through rate is really good and people linger on that post long enough, then that can help your site get. It doesn't help it with the ranking; it helps it get visibility so that Google can gather data faster. If that makes sense.
Got it. So it doesn't like tie in directly, like kind of with Amazon ads. Oftentimes, if you do well with the ad, it'll help you with organic rankings because Amazon's just trying to make a sale. But in this case, what you're saying is,
It kind of works the way that Amazon does in a
okay,
way. I mean, if your content is bad, it's not going to help at all. But if it's really good, it gives Google the ability to get some traffic to that post and see how well it's doing compared to the rest of the articles. Does that make sense?
gotcha. Because it kind of at least puts it on the radar. Because
Yes,
otherwise,
correct.
it's not
Otherwise,
going to
like if
see.
you're a brand new site, Google's probably not crawling your site at a large frequency. This is
Right.
forcing Google to crawl it.
Got
So
it.
it's
So
not going to help you rank. You're correct, but it'll get it on the radar screen.
it's basically like your foot in the door, essentially.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Cool. 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 So, what other tips do you have for someone who's looking to grow their business and maybe they don't want to take the risk of um, looking for new products, or they're just want to grow what they have?
Yeah, I mean, increasing average order value is huge. So I can tell you a couple things we do with our store. Um, as you run a store, you're going to know what sells well,
Hmm.
right? And you're going to know what your highest margin products are.
Right.
So whatever you're going to make the most money on, just move it to the top. It's just like
Right.
Amazon and search, right? The ones who are in the top, top 10 or whatever, always get the most sales. So whatever you're making the most money on, just put it at the top. That's like the easiest low hanging fruit way there is to do it.
And that's such a good
Uh,
point because it's like at the end of the day, you control the search or whatever listings on your site.
Yeah, absolutely. That's like a no-brainer that I don't think a lot of people are doing actually. Just looking around,
Right.
they usually organize their products by cost, which is probably the worst way to do it. That's the
Mm,
default in a lot of shopping carts,
right. Right.
right? Because then people don't look at the most expensive one. Not only that, they have to scroll all the way down. Whereas your most expensive product might be your highest margin product. Who knows?
Gotcha. Because I think a lot of people also sometimes too will like sort it by highest seller, but sometimes your highest seller is not the one you actually want people to buy. So if you want
Right.
them
Your
to buy
highest
something,
seller might be your lowest margin product, actually.
right,
Right? Because you
you could be
discounted it
losing
or
money on
something.
it.
Yeah, you could be losing money on it. Another way to do it is to have bulk discounts.
Hmm.
You see this on Amazon all the time. You can set a discount if someone purchases a certain threshold. That
Right.
works really well. A lot of people don't bundle stuff together. So
Mm.
and we can talk about Amazon for this. Like
Yeah,
we
this would work
sell
from
we
both
sell
places.
napkins, right? In dozens typically. But people who are in businesses, they'd rather get a discount and buy like a 50 pack. So it's in your best interest to put out like a 50 pack of whatever they're looking for at a discount, because the perceived value of a bulk pack, it's kind of like the Costco effect, will entice them to just kind of look for bulk, the word
Right.
bulk actually for whatever they're buying.
Yeah, and it's such a good point because like there's a psychology on that. And sometimes I'll go to the store and like see like the bulk items. Sometimes if I look like per ounce or whatever, it sometimes is even more expensive. But
Mhm.
people just have the opinion that it like, oh, it must be less expensive if I get bulk. And there's so much you can do with bundling. I have found is that you could take, let's say you have three products that are all fairly similar. You could take product one and two, bulk them together, product two and three, put them all three together, 3 packs, 5 packs, 50 packs, whatever makes sense for your niche. And it's such low hanging fruit, and you get more sales and you have more shelf space, so to speak,
Yep.
on Amazon or your store. And so you're giving people more options.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, Other ways to do it are like upsells,
Mm-hmm.
cross sells. Um, we have all these automated sequences in place where if you buy a certain item but you don't buy another item, then you get an email or whatever to buy that other item that matches. So, quick example: we sell cocktail napkins in our store. A lot of times, if you're shopping for cocktail napkins, you're probably not browsing the other sections, but we actually have matching napkins to that cocktail napkin in different sizes. And so you just send them an email saying, hey, would you like matching napkins to what you just bought? And more often than not, a high percentage of those people are interested. And
Nice.
you need to be constantly, you don't have to do this manually. You can just set it up automatically.
Mm-hmm.
You can do that also through, there's this tool for Shopify users. I don't know if your audience is on Shopify. It's called Zipify. It's a one-click upsell.
Oh,
So you
okay.
buy something, and immediately, as soon as you're done, you are offered the ability to buy like two more of that same thing at a significant discount. And a
Interesting.
lot of people take advantage of those deals
Gotcha.
because you're already committed.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like this one time we were buying a sewing machine because we do embroidery at our shop.
Right.
He was trying to sell us all these accessories along with the machine. It's like, no, we only want the machine. It's like a $10,000 machine. So we're like, no,
Right.
we just want the machine. We just want the machine. And so finally we get to the register and he's like, okay, great. We already paid for the machine. Or I handed him the credit card and he was like, I tell you what, I'll throw in this accessory pack for 70% off. And we
Uh,
bought the accessory pack. And I'm pretty sure that they still made a profit on that accessory pack. It's just like a little upsell.
oh, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
So it
And
works. I mean, same
and
principle.
he made you more of a customer, a customer with a higher average value and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, because the whole time he was talking about these accessories, we're like, man, this is so expensive. It's so expensive. But once we had already committed to buying one thing, just adding on an extra thing was like nothing. It's kind of like when you go to Best Buy and they go, hey, would you like the warranty? Um,
Right.
I mean, I always say no to that because it's not worth it. But I bet they convert a lot of those warranties.
Well, I can guarantee they wouldn't be doing them if they weren't profitable and weren't turning over because, at the end of the day, like, they're like, oh, it's like $30 and it'll replace everything in 3 years or whatever the case is. And I imagine a lot of people say yes. I generally say no, but even every now and then I'm like, well, that makes sense. I don't know if they just catch me on the right day, but it's like anything. If you don't ask, you won't receive.
Yeah, I mean, the key point is you've already committed to buying something, and that makes you vulnerable to other things that can be presented to you to buy.
Right, exactly. Once we've crossed that trust barrier of pulling out our wallet and putting our credit card in, whether it's in person or online, it's like, oh, well, that makes sense. It kind of ties in with, the sewing machine or whatever I just bought at Best Buy or whatever. It makes sense. So, the more you can do to upsell. And the nice thing is when it's your own website, you're not you don't have the same rules. Like Amazon rules don't apply. I mean, you still have to
Yeah.
be, good trade practices and good business, but as long as you're being honest and good faith, like you can kind of do whatever you want.
One thing that Amazon does really well, and I'm sure you've noticed shopping on Amazon, is like right below the add to cart button, they have this also bought with,
Oh yeah.
right? I
Hmm.
mean, you should do that on your site as well because it encourages people to add more items to their cart to increase the average order value.
Yeah, and I've found that's also a good place to look for bundles because like if you look up your own product and you see like, oh, they're also buying my other product here, well, bundle them together because they're telling
Yep.
you people are buying this together. So you could get two, and then sometimes the math makes sense because the fulfillment fees, you're only doing one fulfillment fee instead of two, and so depending on how that weight and everything works out, it could actually save you money or you make more money by giving them even a little bit of a bulk discount.
Yeah,
A lot you can do.
absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of things. If you just look at Amazon's website and you replicate that with your own site, it works like gangbusters.
Yeah, that's true. And they've spent billions of dollars and all kinds of impressions and tests and people, really smart people focusing on how to make it better over the years. That it's like you don't have to replicate, or you don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's kind of already been invented, and they've done a very good job with it over the years.
I mean, since we're on the topic, something else that works really well just to kind of increase your sales is like these little sense of urgency countdown timers. Like whenever we have a sale now, we have a countdown timer on every single page. Even during checkout to reduce abandoned carts, we have a countdown timer in checkout that says, hey, we're going to hold your cart for X number of minutes. And so this
Oh,
timer now, it's a fake timer really.
right.
Because if it goes to zero, which if it goes to zero, it just kind of resets itself.
It was at 3 minutes, and now it's at 14 minutes. I don't understand.
Exactly. But most people don't know it. If they're
Right.
already in the checkout process, it just kind of prevents abandoned carts. Like it's your first level of defense.
No, and that's good, because you got to create some level of scarcity.
Hmm.
And if you don't have scarcity, you know, people are not going to think about it. And the thing of it is, it's like, especially on your own site, like you don't have the benefit of the brand name of, like, let's say Amazon or whatever. So
Yeah.
you have to do little things like that. But if you look around in the world around you, it's happening to you all the time. So it's like, I go to our local Publix, which is our grocery store here in Florida, and it's like, this particular sale through this day, and there's all these, like, through, like, up until X date, or you got to do this now, or they're playing with, buy two get one free, or save $3 if you buy two. The sales are never on one product, it's always on multiples. So they play with those little emotions. And so just paying attention to things like that are happening in the world, you know can help you, because these companies, they know what they're doing.
One thing that works on me all the time is on Amazon, it says, hey, there's only 5 left.
Mm.
So that's something we added to our site like about a year and a half ago. Like if it's below like a certain amount, like in big red letters, it says there's only this amount left.
Uh-huh.
And that actually works for those products when it happens, when it gets to a low threshold.
Yeah, that makes sense, because people, they're like, oh, it's that fear of missing out. Well, if I don't buy it now, 5 other people are going to come in and take it.
Yeah, I mean, these are hankies, people, right? I mean, but
Right.
still, it doesn't matter what the product is, it works.
Well, it's all the same wiring in our brain that makes us think about, like, scarcity and, like, not wanting to miss out on something. So yeah, that's a
So let's see. So we're on the topic of that also. Other things that we've done with our site that work really well are kind of reframing the product in a different way. So we sell handkerchiefs, right?
right.
If we were to just target handkerchiefs, people, I mean, if they like handkerchiefs, they might buy them, but people buy them for a lot of different occasions. Like Christmas, people buy them for Christmas, believe it or not. There's weddings, of course. There's Easter baptism hankies. There's memorial handkerchiefs for funerals. Just creating dedicated landing pages for those special events have increased sales. And same products, same identical products, just different ways to frame them depending on what the context of a person who's purchasing.
Yeah, there's so many little things you could do. It's fun. And the nice thing is, when you have your own store, you can try these little things and see what works. Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, technically, I wonder if you can, technically, can you do this on Amazon? Like if you take the exact same product and reframe the title in a different, I'm pretty sure that's illegal, but I'm sure like you could get away with it.
Well, you could
I,
just test different titles for one.
well, no, the point is like you might have one that's for weddings and you want weddings in the title and you want all the copy on that product page to be all about weddings,
Got it.
but
So
you
you're
take the
saying it's a
exact
different
same
SKU?
different SKU, yes,
Yes.
altogether.
Yeah.
Pretty sure you could do it because there's all these like identical products on Amazon, right? I haven't
Right.
tried this actually yet. I just thought of it just now because I'm doing it on my own site. But
Right.
to take that exact same product and frame it in a different way, exact same product though.
Right. 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 Is it have different packaging, or is it just the pictures are a little different?
I guess you would, I mean, you could go, if you change the packaging, obviously it's a totally different SKU.
Right.
But I'm wondering if you can get away with just the same thing, just taking photos differently and just creating a whole new listing, completely targeting that particular topic. Might
Interesting.
work. It might work.
So like handkerchiefs for wedding as opposed to
And
handkerchiefs
then this other
for.
one is just for funerals, right?
Mm,
I got this. I fall for this all the time. So I was in Home Depot once shopping for oil for the sewing machine. And what's funny is I was looking at these bottles and they all had the exact same active ingredient. But the one I ended up buying was the one that said 4 sewing machines.
interesting. Because it just have, oh, well, it's for sewing machines,
Right.
but
It just
everything
said
else
for
is
sewing
exactly
machines.
the same.
Right. Everything else didn't say that. And it said, the same stuff, like really high quality oil, blah, blah, blah. But I bought the one that said 4 sewing machines, even though, like, if you look at the bottle, it's the exact same ingredients.
Oh wow, that's funny, and it's funny. Like, and we don't always realize how much stuff like that's happening around us. Like, I remember one time going on a tour of this dairy packing facility, where it was they literally took the same truck with like milk, so like you get bulk milk from like farms, and they had like 14 different stores that they packaged it for, and or 14 different brands even, and sometimes it's literally the same milk just with different packaging and different brand. It might even be like at different prices on the shelf, but everything is
Mhm.
the same. And so sometimes we just package things up a little bit differently for different audiences. I could see that as a good thing to test as well, because
Yeah. I mean,
the sales
yeah.
copy could be very different for the audience.
The example I think I used at Brand Accelerator was Rogaine. They sell minoxidil for women and men, and one's a pink package, the other one's like a black package or a dark package.
Hmm.
Same exact active ingredients, um,
Yeah.
just targeted differently.
Well, it's kind of like the same thing with razors. It's just, it's like, it's sharp metal, but they use a pink handle versus a blue handle or something like that to,
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, for women's and men's. Yeah,
yeah. So it's crazy how all that stuff
it's all
works.
over the place. You just have to just take notice of these things.
Yeah, but the more you have an eye for looking, okay, what else is happening around there? What else am I don't want to use the word falling for, but like what's working with me? And chances are if it's working with me, it's probably working with other people too, because again, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. If other people are doing
Right.
it and it's working, we might as well at least test it. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but we only know if we try.
You just need to be a little bit more conscious of these things that are happening to you, and then you can implement them on your own store.
Yeah, 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 definitely, definitely. Well, this has been a great conversation. I'm so glad that you came on here and shared a lot of golden nuggets of wisdom here, Steve.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for having me, Kevin.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So, if somebody wanted to find you online, where would they go?
Yeah, so my blog is over at mywifequitterjob.com, and on that site you'll find the podcast as well. As you mentioned before, we run an annual event called the Seller Summit,
Hmm.
and I have a couple of training courses. One is called ProfitableOnlineStore.com. It teaches you how to sell online,
Hmm.
and then we have a new course coming out called Profitable Online Blog that actually teaches you how to blog as well. So,
Nice.
oh, I forgot to say, if you guys are getting married, I'll hook you up with some handkerchiefs over at bumblebeelinens.com
Nice,
as well.
nice. You give a
Yeah.
free introductory handkerchief.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
First one is free. Yeah.
And the first one is free. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much. And I definitely suggest that everyone go check out My Wife Quit Her Job. I love the podcast. You've always had a good wide variety of guests, and it's always helpful content.
Cool. Thanks, Kevin. I appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Well, thanks so much. Take care.
Take care.